Hi, also this is Sean. So today's video is going to be about Oris and my 5 favorite models from their range. Oris is a brand that I've never owned one of their watches, and tell me in the comments if you have and what you think of them. I've tried a few of them on when I was thinking about buying a watch, and I have been impressed by them, and I like a few of their designs. As a brand, it's not one of the brands that really speaks to me. I'm not sure why that is, but I do like a lot of the watches, and I think they are an interesting brand that provides something a little bit different to some of the others. If I just glance over here, I'm just looking at my notes for the video. So there are actually 6. Can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there are 6, but the first option is for me a little bit pricey, but I just thought it was an interesting one. So the first is the Big Crown 38473. So basically, it's a manual wind watch with an in-house movement in it. It's like $4,000, which I do not see Oris as being kind of in that price range as a brand, and I would struggle to pay that much for an Oris, but it is a lovely watch, and I'm not sure also how I feel about the in-house movement trend. I think to a certain extent I would prefer an ETA in a brand like Oris, but I understand why they're doing it. It's partially for prestige and, to say you have an in-house movement, but also partially to not rely so much on the Swatch Group and things like that. But I don't think I'd pay that for an Oris Big Crown, but each to their own. And if you own one, tell me about it and tell me if it's a decent watch and the quality of it and things like that. So the second is the Big Crown Pointed Date 36mm. This is the one I would go for if I was buying an Oris Big Crown. I think it's a lovely watch. I think it's actually quite an interesting watch, and it's a bit different. I don't think I've ever seen anyone wearing an Oris Big Crown in the flesh, but I think that it is a really interesting watch, and the fact that the date complication is a little bit different is interesting. The size at 36mm is really good. I think it's an interesting watch as well, because it's not a dress watch or a sports watch. It's kind of something in between. It's like a casual watch, like in the same way that I see Nomos or something like that as a casual watch. But I really like that watch. I would definitely buy that if I had the money for all the watches that I want. But I don't. So yeah, next the Aquis Date 39.5. If I'm honest, the Aquis, I do like the design of the Aquis, but I do not particularly like the integrated bracelet thing and the integrated strap thing. I would prefer something that you could change things up a little bit, but I do like the Aquis, and the 39.5 would be ideal for my wrist size. The others are too big. I'd probably get it on a rubber strap because I think divers kind of suit that thing a little bit more, and unlike a Seamaster or a Submariner, it's not so much a luxury dive watch where you would want the flash of the bracelet, though if I remember correctly the bracelet is a little bit flashy on the Aquis, but again that's a nice watch. It's not really my style, if I'm honest, but it is something that you should check out if you're in the market for a dive watch that it's reasonably priced. Then the Divers 65, the 40mm version. Comes on a bracelet, it comes on the rubber strap. I've written down actually bracelet, but I would probably get it on the rubber strap because it looks kind of cooler and a bit more vintage. I do really like that watch. I think it's really nice and really cool looking. It's only got 100-meter water resistance, which is unusual really for a diver in the modern world. But I guess you could say it stayed faithful to 100 meters in the 60s, what it would have been. But that and the pointed date are probably my favourite in the Oris range, really. Then next, the Oris Rectangular, which is kind of, I'm wearing the tank now, and it's kind of the version of the tank for Oris. It's the same width as the tank, but a bigger lug to lug distance. So it's a relatively modestly sized watch, and I don't know if it's obvious. I was going to say obviously it's not as aesthetically pleasing as the tank, but it is an alternative if you're in the market for something a little bit more affordable. Though it isn't that much more affordable. Though it is automatic, as far as I remember. Whereas this one that I'm wearing is quartz. You got to pay about 11 grand for a mechanical Cartier tank. And then lastly, the Artix GT Day Date. And the reason that I include this, I don't think it's part of their range anymore, but the reason that I include it is because when I was in the market for buying my like very first nice watch, if you like, I tried this on and I thought it was really nice. I think a lot of Oris's watches, particularly the ones at the time, they've since moved into kind of more heritage models, but they're a bit more kind of modern. But this one, I just thought it was a really nice watch for a modern watch. I tend to go for watches with a bit more of a vintage vibe, or if not vintage, then it's a classic design. Like the tank, I don't know if you call it vintage, this particular one, but it is an old design. But yeah, just a nice watch. I like it. So tell me what you think of Oris. If you're an Oris owner, particularly, tell me in the comments, what are they like to own? Are they reliable? Is the timekeeping good? Do you feel like they're of high quality compared to other brands of that price range? And if you like the channel, please subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye.